counterfeit system, and they believe that they are right, and this is the only way to solve the problem. So, are the kings of the world paying homage unto the beast? They certainly are. History proves that, and especially our modern times prove that. Every political being on this planet who has any say has to take his turn to visit this power. There's Gorbachev and even this man. They say he's anti-pope. Then why has he got a Jesuit advisor by his side? This is Hegelian eclectic, always putting opposites into the environment. And the kings and the queens, there is Queen Elizabeth. She's also known as the Queen of the Bilderbergers, and dressed in black appropriately, with the man in white and the princess and the religious leaders, Ramsi over there, and then the Islamic leaders, and the United States leaders, and Margaret Thatcher's, and the Carters, and whether you're a Japanese prime minister or a Chinese one, this is where you end up, or whether you are a Blair or whether you are a Bush. This is where you go. And discussions under statues of Ignatius Loyola, Revelation 17:12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet. The union of church and state must be complete, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So there will be a union of politics and church, churchcraft and statecraft. Verse 13, these have one mind and shall have their power and give their power and strength unto the beast. So the political support will be given to this counterfeit antichrist system. That's what the Bible says. So when it happens, lift up your heads, because you know that your redemption draweth near. Now, as it happens, and as these events take place, the Bible says God's people will come into dire straits. But, Isaiah 26:20-21, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain. So God's people must hide in the shadow of his wing, and God will lead them individually as this time approaches. And then it'll happen. Psalms 110, 5 and 6, King James Version, New King James Version. The Lord is at your right hand. He shall execute kings in the day of his wrath. He shall judge amongst the nations. He shall fill the places with dead bodies. He shall execute the heads of many countries. That's pretty straight talk, wouldn't you agree? That's pretty straight talk from the Bible. There's coming a time of retribution. God will not be slighted forever. And is God cruel and unjust? No. If we knew what was going on behind the scenes, we would say, God, why did you wait so long? Behold, the Lord came with 10,000 of his holy ones to execute judgment upon all, and to convict all the ungodly of their works of ungodliness which they have ungodly wrought, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. So the Old Testament, the New Testament, both of them in perfect harmony. The Lord is coming to say, so far and no further. And then the lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the breath of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. 2 Thessalonians 2:8. This is a theology we are well aware of. It's not a popular theology. There's only one church in the world that preaches it. Did you know that? All the others preach a temporal millennium and all of these things, and there's only one church in the whole world that preaches it, just like it stands. Behold, the Lord came with 10,000 of his holy ones to execute judgment upon all and to convict all the ungodly. Isn't that a tremendous sentence there? And to destroy the lawless one by the brightness of his coming. Now, we looked at the powers that be and how they set up this spiritual kingdom and their spiritual and political war. And we read this quote again here from Popery, Puseyism, and Jesuitism. At what then do the Jesuits aim? According to them, they seek only the greater glory of God. But if you examine the facts, you will find that they aim at universal dominion alone. They have rendered themselves indispensable to the Pope, who without them could not exist, because Catholicism is identified with them. They have rendered themselves indispensable to governors and hold revolutions in their hands. And in this way, either under one name or another, it is they who rule the world. That's a worldling making a statement. Oh, I wouldn't say a worldling, but very interesting. If you look at all the centuries of revolutions that we've had of late, since 1750, the French Revolution, of course, the mother of revolutions, the American Revolution just before that, the Spanish Revolution, the Polish Revolution, the Italian Revolution, the German Revolution, the Russian Revolution, the First World War, the Second World War. All of these wars appeared only to have a political agenda. No, they didn't. They had a religious agenda. They were religious wars. We haven't got time to deal with all of the issues. I'm pushing the wrong button. Let's have a look at the French Revolution. This was a cataclysmic event that set the stage for the events. The whole of chapter 11 of Revelation is dedicated to this event, the French Revolution. And out of the French Revolution came a totally new philosophy. And there, for the first time, human rights were ensconced. And they wrote them on 2 tablets, just like the 10 Commandments, with fasciae in the middle, showing that fascism would be the control center of this new law. And above it, they had this funny little hat over there, the serpent with his tail in his mouth, this all-seeing eye of Lucifer, and the fasciae spear going right through the middle, and this funny little hat on top over there, which they called the Jacobin hat. Now, what is a Jacobin hat? There it is, a nice, funny little hat. This is the god Mitra. This is Mitraism, and Mitraism is the core religion of Roman Catholicism. In the 7th grade of a Mitreia, you became father and you got a congregation. And you belonged to sub-organizations, just like in Catholicism. You can be a Franciscan, you can be a Jesuit, you can be a Dominican, you can be any one of those things. So the Jacobin hat concealed the secret religion of the occult, and people wore it with pride. Jacobinism is Luciferian worship without anyone knowing that it is so. Now, Education 2-8, at the same time, anarchy is seeking to sweep away all law, not only divine but human. The centralization of wealth and power, the vast combinations for enriching of the few at the expense of the many, the combinations of the poorer class for the defense of their interests and claims, the spirit of unrest, of riot and bloodshed, the worldwide dissemination of the same teachings that led to the French Revolution, all are tending to involve the whole world in a struggle similar to that which convulsed France. Amazing, you know. I am stunned when I read the spirit of prophecy. It is so amazing. So these teachings of the French Revolution will be the same yeast that will ferment this end-time cataclysm. Well, what happened after the French Revolution and during it? Mazzini and Pike,